You're listening to a DM podcast.
Welcome to Over the Back Fence. I'm Di Edwards.
I'm Nicola Dale, and we're buddies of nearly 4 decades. And yes, we actually do happen to share a back fence.
We do. We love parties, people, inspirational stories, and honestly, making the most out of life.
So join us as we open our hearts, share our stories, and hear from some of the most inspirational people in the world. And have a laugh along the way.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Well, don't tell me there's not variety in podcasts. We're in the middle of this interview you're about to hear, and Nicola and I got the giggles.
So excuse us, guys. We absolutely lose it.
We couldn't
belly
stop.
laughing. It's like we're naughty kids at school
Yep.
again. So run with
Yep.
it. I hope
Yep.
you laugh as much as we do.
And we
but
do know Zora that we interviewed, and she knows us. Thank God that rescued us. But I think you'll get a giggle from our giggle. Enjoy, guys.
Howdy doody.
Howdy doody doodly doodly doo-doo.
Back on a Monday seeing
We
you.
are. We love Mondays. Remember that song, I Hate Mondays?
Yeah, I know.
Remember
Well,
that song, I hate Mondays.
I love Mondays.
So do
Monday's
I.
really exciting because I think a new potty always drops.
It's
which is
very
great.
true. And I love a fresh start to the week, I mean, look, in the old days when I was younger, I used to always have a friggin' hangover. So I get it. I didn't like Mondays then. But,
And what, you don't have hangovers now?
I actually, I'm at church, of course, on a Sunday, Nicola.
That's right.
No, it's a Sabbath day. No, I tend to have them Sunday mornings. So if we did the podcast on Sunday, we'd be stuffed. So yay, here we are again.
Here we are again. But I tell you what, I think I might have popped a little Barocca in the morning, which I kind of like to do because I had a bit of a big
2
weekend.
or 3.
And then on the weekend, we're celebrating who's about to be a grandmama. Dodie
That's right. It
doody.
was a big weekend, actually.
So it was a baby shower /
Yes.
big party. Beautiful with family and
Yeah,
friends.
that
And
was
for
special.
Di's baby son who's going to be a daddy soon, which is so exciting before Christmas.
Yeah, a lot of kids. The eldest son, Ryan, flew out from Singapore for a wedding on Saturday night. So we went to that one miles over the other side of Sydney. That was just so beautiful. And then, Bija had that on the Sunday. So it was just a weekend of love and, just your cup is full with that sort of family support and friendships.
Yes.
A lot of my friends, and you literally got off the plane and
Sharing the
ran,
love. Yes,
baby.
yeah,
So you've been at the,
giddy up,
no, wait a
giddy
minute.
up. Yeah,
The Gigi's.
I went to Derby Day, which was a lot of fun. All
Speaking of
wearing-
hangovers.
Yeah, exactly. That was quite a big one, going from sort of marquee to marquee. But you sort of got to do it. It was really good fun.
I love that. Did you
And
hear
I
that?
know
You've got to do it.
You've got to do it. But look, hey, I know I'm sort of aware too. It's not everyone's cup of tea. It's great when you're there in Melbourne at Flemington. It's great because you're part of it. But I think it's really is dying out the big lunches and even the Melbourne Cup lunches and things like that. Now the younger generations with Nup to the Cup, I think it's really is, and I understand that it's not as it used to be. But if you actually go to the event there, it's a lot of fun. It's a good vibe and good energy, and it's a social thing.
What I love most is getting dressed up.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And it's the funniest thing. I think everyone, if you haven't seen it, that Kath and Kim video.
Yeah, it's my favourite. And she gets the
Favourite one.
carrot caught in the fascinator,
Oh, no,
falling out of the
they
public
get the train, exactly. Had one too many shardies. But Derby Day, black and white's great. You can't go wrong. And everyone looks stylish.
What time did you get home?
I can't remember.
Yeah, hello. Hello.
But then I got the flight back because then I wanted to, of course, go there to BJ.
Oh, it was so lovely.
Yeah.
It was so beautiful.
So it
a
was
few
a
crazy speeches.
Great weekend, and
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
got to
I
have
loved
fun.
it.
So
Yeah.
anyhow, so we've got a great guest coming up.
We do.
Zora Benhamou, who's actually was a friend of
Dynamo.
ours, absolute dynamo.
Yeah.
So she's a biohacker.
Yes.
And
if you don't know what that
longevity
is, it's literally when you hack, because a lot of people say, what is hacking? What is biohacking? Well, I think, think of someone, hacking like with a sword, right? And you're aging. Well, they're hacking off those years and bringing it back to your youth. It's like bio, part of your body, how you can go about doing that. And honestly, these days, I think if you're like me, we all want to hear the latest stats and research on how do you go about doing that. And not necessarily beauty, longevity.
Oh, absolutely. Longevity. So I think it's
yeah.
Hack My Age.
Yeah,
She's
I
got
love
her
it.
Instagram, she's got her website, she's got sort of like books, she's got recipes, the whole lot. So we've got her coming
Yeah.
up. You'll love her.
Enjoy, guys.
Enjoy. today at our back fence, we're so excited, Didi, because we have got the fabulous one and only Zora Benhamou, who is a digital nomad, girlfriend of ours, specialises in longevity and loves teaching others. And we want to hear it more from Zora.
Hey, Zora. Welcome, sweetheart.
Welcome.
Hi. How are you guys? I'm so excited to be here and see you
Well,
again.
what's
We're
amazing is that we met Zora in Phuket Cleanse. Zora actually happens to be there in Phuket as we're speaking to her.
Full circle,
Yeah, full
isn't
circle
it?
in a huge way. Look, there's so many starting points today with Zora. She has an amazing podcast, Hack My Age. She covers the full range of, particularly, you put your money where your mouth is when it comes to Hack My Age. Your research that you do is actually really applaudable.
And talk about research, Di, too. I mean, you're researching, you've had your head in the books too, and you've also become a graduate. Tell us what you graduated in.
Yeah. When COVID hit, I decided to get a master's.
Wow. As you do.
I really wanted, as you do. And I got a master's in gerontology because gerontology is the study of aging and longevity. And that's what I've been doing most of my life, but just never got an official degree on it. So now I'm officially a gerontologist. And what we do look at is not only the biological aspects of aging, as most people do, but we look at the psychological and the sociological aspects of aging and try to understand why people are aging, how they're aging, why do they get certain diseases. But I love the fact that it is all encompassing. It's not just how can we live longer, better. It's how can we have an improved life, a better health span, and do good in the world and stop ageism and be inclusive of older adults and help them live better, longer, and become a fabric of the society.
As far as interviewing Zora now, there's so much there. What would be pertinent for the listeners right now? Where would you start? What sort of things can you recommend or suggest or maybe guide some of our listeners around this arena?
Oh, practical tips. We're jumping right into it.
Yeah, baby.
We're going straight in.
We go in for the kill.
Yes. So if the objective is to live longer in a better condition, and we call it health span, not just lifespan, because modern medicine has figured that out through medicine. We can live longer, but we're sick for about 30 of those years, which is too long. And so we want to extend health span. So there's many ways to do it. And I'm a biohacker and I love to test, measure, and assess and figure things out and understand and experiment, which I encourage everyone to do. Is this N of 1 experiment is that the only person who's important in this room is you. So if, let's say your goal is to be happy for as long as you possibly can.
Love it.
Is that a goal? Does
What
that
a
make
goal.
sense?
I think that's a goal we'd all like to achieve.
Let's go down that road.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll then want to learn about the Harvard study of adult development, which was started in 1938, still ongoing. It's one of the longest longitudinal studies on the planet.
Still going, that study.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And so they make conclusions every, so often. And I think it was 2017, they put out some really interesting conclusions about what they found about these adults. And of course, in the beginning, all they could do was questionnaires and blood tests and maybe blood pressure and things like that. Now they have MRIs and scans and they look at if they're smoking, not smoking, what their relationships are like, if they're exercising, what are they eating? I mean, it's so friggin' detailed. And what they concluded in 2017 was looking at all this data, and they said, okay, what's making people live happier longer? And they found out that it was strong, personal, happy relationships.
Oh, how beautiful is that?
Interesting.
And is that more just
Interesting.
a personal, as in one and your partner, or is it
Support
relationships
network.
with support network, circle of friends, or what?
Yeah, one thing I didn't add is that more than smoking, more than exercise, more than all that stuff, more than your cholesterol levels, the strongest predictor of how long you'll be in this state, happier longer, at 50 years old, how happy are you with your relationships? Right. And that's a stronger predictive of that.
So friendship is so important. That's sort of like on the top of the pecking order.
Yeah. One of the greatest problems in the world right now is loneliness.
Yeah.
Loneliness kills, actually. That's it does. It is equivalent to smoking 17 cigarettes a day. The damage it does on the body is what I mean.
So what tips would you give then, Zora, for someone to try and sort of stop the loneliness? Is it just reaching out? Is it making a call?
See, that's the
Is
thing.
it
I don't want to leave people
No.
alone saying, oh, that's going to kill you. First thing I think of is someone that is alone and feeling alone and they feel lost in that. Stepping out, finding your community, which is around you.
And I tell you what, we want to be that community too, that when we started with Over the Back Fence, is for people to be connected. And that's sort of what we're really about.
Yeah, actually with the digital era now, we can start there. Of course, it's always a little more potent to have the person in front of you, right? We have chemical exchanges and we feel people and there's that energy. But if you don't have that, and especially during COVID, I mean, we couldn't actually physically see people. And people who are lonely can be very isolated. So remember, loneliness and isolation are two very different things. You can be isolated, but not lonely, right? If you're far away, but yet you're actually okay kind of being on your own. You're fine. You don't need all these people. You feel loved. You feel fine. And then you can have people who are very lonely, but they're not isolated. They have hundreds of people around them, but they still feel lonely and alone. So they're two different things. It's the ones that when you're lonely is that kills, not being isolated.
But don't you find this fascinating with all that data that Zora just shared, that we're coming back to, hello, what we are, we're organic matter, we're human beings. Interaction,
basics,
without that we die.
Yeah.
Hello?
It is quite extraordinary, isn't it?
Don't you
with
find
all
that? I was waiting for,
technology.
the blood and the brain and the this and whatever, you know what I mean, more exercise, more whatever, more sex. And I'm going, wow, connection.
It's connection.
Like, like a hug. We always talk about a good hug.
Yeah. And as you say, it doesn't have to be many people at all. Sometimes it's just like one person and they can make all the difference. Two
people, because this is actually taken by he wrote the book on happiness, and he says that if it's just one person, it's more likely to be, let's say, your partner. Okay, if you live with somebody, what happens when that person dies?
They die a year later.
Yeah,
often.
Yeah.
So
often.
you really should
just drinking some water
here
here that tastes like wine.
Don't turn squatter into wine.
She can turn water to wine. Oh my God.
Right. That's for longevity.
Yes.
But can I also say to Zora, what I think the listeners would love to hear, I certainly want to hear it again and again and again, is when you graduated and got your master's, tell us about that. It was at UCLA, you were 50, and who did you graduate with?
Yes. So first it was USC, the University of Southern California.
Yep.
But I did go to UCLA too. As
cool uni.
You're an LA girl.
And so I graduated when I was 52.
Wow,
and my daughter also graduated in the same year, the same university, and the same ceremony. So
same ceremony.
Tell you what, that's also, we're always sort of saying with longevity, and I mean, you're the expert and you're the queen of it, Zora, but it's also trying new things, stimulating yourself. So for you to do
the
that
brain
at 52,
anyway. I hope you're giggling too. Look, honestly, it's always hard interviewing someone you love and adore and know. Like we had so much fun in Spain with Zora. Now let's get down to tin tacks here. I know we're going from longevity, but we're going into our favourite subject because both Nicola and I did not go through menopause, but I know that you're a great advocate for helping many a woman going through the worst symptoms of menopause. And some of them I wrote down, I couldn't believe it. It was like, because Nicola and I, as I said, did not go through this, but hot flushes, weight gain, night sweats, flaky skin, mood changes, sleep, anxiety, dry vagina. I'm going...
Oh, come on, Joe. We've had a couple of those things have happened.
Sleep?
But Zora's actually you specialise in that now, don't you, Zora?
Yes, I've moved on to the menopause space.
Yeah. Firstly, can you tell our listeners, about menopause, as in what it is and where we're at with it right now?
Okay, let me first correct, because one myth is that I didn't go through menopause. You did go through menopause.
Yeah, we did. We just
are still having your period. What you want to clarify is that
true.
You didn't have the symptoms of menopause.
You're right.
Right?
Yeah.
Other than the 12 months without a period,
Yeah.
right?
That's
So
right. Some of the
now
things we did go through.
Yeah. Yes.
That's
So
right.
It's true.
not
That's
having
a fact.
period, hallelujah, like that's
Yes.
fun. You have gone through menopause. It's just that you didn't have that stereotypical menopause experience that we all fear and hear about.
Yeah.
And so what we're trying to do is break some of those stereotypes, not say that they don't happen. There are a lot of women who suffer and they need help. So if you look under the hood, which I really encourage you still to do, anyone who's listening who says, yep, that's me, I also didn't go through menopause, you still need to have your health checkups. You need to still look at your bone density. You still need to look at your muscle mass. You still need to do things that menopause has a great effect on your heart health, right? Your brain health. Hormones are a life-saving thing that we need, right? So when you lose them, you're at risk, right? You're at risk, period, just being older. Like the biggest risk factor for all diseases is age, and we can't control that.
They've
right?
actually found a significant impact on the brain function and structure. Also, with women menopause, they've actually proved that, which blew me away.
Yes. And that's hormones. Hormones are not a bad thing. Hormones are lovely. And it's so sad when we lose them, and because we will lose them. That's out of our control. But we can replenish them. We can support them. We can balance them. We can do so many things. And when they are in balance and replenished, well, those menopause symptoms go away. And just because you didn't have the symptoms doesn't mean, oh, my hormones are still here, right? You still need to check them and see where you're at and what the levels are and all that other things. And things that you don't feel that are happening under the hood doesn't mean they're not happening.
Zora,
right?
I think that's a really good point there, because
Yeah.
it's like saving with myself with bone density.
Yeah.
I didn't realise my bone density wasn't really all that good, and I was thinking I'm strong, and I even do my weights, and I eat my
strong.
G's and all that stuff there. But the scan showed, and that was obviously post-menopause
Scary.
too. You know,
Yeah.
and then I've had a hip, I've replaced my hip. You know, and there's so those things.
She's
there, even
falling
though
apart, Zora.
now I'm back together.
What did you say about the hood? We're trading her
Under
in.
the hood. But the hidden
Paint
thing,
oil.
just because you don't have the night, like the flushes and the sweats and all that stuff there,
Yeah.
other things happen, and they're the hidden things. So that's a really good point, and I'm glad that you've brought that awareness, because I certainly really wasn't that aware of that, to be honest.
Most people aren't. Don't worry. It's they call osteoporosis a silent killer, right?
Yes.
It's just happen. Sorry,
Yeah.
silent disease. It is, because what happens is you lose the bone density. Your bones become fragile. You have a fall, and after the fall, you may die earlier than expected, because your risk of death is so much higher. And that may be because within the 6 months, I think it was like 20 or 30%, it was some high number of people who have a fall and a fracture die within those 6 months. Too high. And it could be maybe because infection in the hospital. It could be because now you can't go out and do the things that you used to do, and your life has become depressed and just sort of spirals out of control. There's many reasons, but that's why we need to pay attention to these things and not wait until it's broken and you have the fall.
So you mentioned, we talked at various stages about hormones. Where are we at in 2023 with HRT? Because it's had some bad press in the past decade. There's many ways to take HRT. How would you recommend taking it if one needs it?
So in case somebody doesn't know what HRT is, it's hormone replacement therapy. I like to call it menopause support therapy, because women, hormones got a bad rap due to a very poorly designed study in 2002 called the Women's Health Initiative. And what that study did is they had women, the average age was 62. These women were obese, they were smokers, they were unhealthy. So it wasn't quite representative of the general population and or the population of women who tend to take hormones. So there's been debunked a lot. But what happened was they had to stop the study midway because women were dying of cancer. So before they actually made an official press release, the media got a hold of this, made headlines, hormones cause cancer. That's all we remember.
Yes.
And that made great press. And what happened then, soon after, they said, wait, hold the presses. We haven't analyzed the study and came up with the conclusions yet. By the time they did that, then they said, oh, okay, this is what we conclude, which was very insignificant increase in breast cancer. Very, like, it just, there's higher increase of being a Swedish the flight attendant. I mean, it was
Nothing
something
wrong with
ridiculous.
flight attendants, Zora.
Yeah, I mean, there was just incredible. There's a book called Estrogen Matters by Avram Blooming, if you want more understanding of how they broke this study down and debunked it.
Wow,
And
so
so
interesting.
Sad though that
Yeah,
happened.
isn't
yeah,
it?
it's
Yes.
really sad because
Yeah.
there's a whole generation of women who got gypped out of this stage of life and told them just pull your socks up and deal with the pain and the horror stories and then walk through it. And then, of course, setting themselves up for osteoporosis and heart disease and all these other things. So when they came up with the analysis of the study, well, that didn't make headlines because that's not interesting. And I think it was 2017, they looked at these women again and what happened and where are they? And they actually found out that the women who took the hormone therapy had a lower risk of cardiovascular disease, breast cancer, and so many other osteoporosis and all these things. So, but now we're starting to get the information out to people and to doctors, because you still meet so many doctors who say, I will not prescribe hormones. They cause cancer or something like that. They just have not been up to date with the research. They're not trained in menopause. They have no
So
training.
that's
It's not a
pretty
normal
frightening.
part.
Isn't it? It is.
Yeah.
But I have to say, most of my friends who've been on HRT just said they've just never looked back, and it's really worked for them. So I think if there is that sort of need there, it's great that it is sort of now it's not going to have that risk of the cancer or So
Do it early. Don't wait until you have menopause or wait until you're really suffering and try to, it's just about informing yourself. And we're talking about bioidentical hormones, not the synthetic stuff, right?
Right,
So
that's different. Yeah.
tell us about what happens with our sex drive and dry vaginas and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So who wants sex when you have no libido and a dry vagina? I mean, I get it. It's not. And remember what I just said about intimate relationships, right? Or strong relationships. They don't have to always be intimate, but there's. That's included as well. And so if you like intimacy, I'm not saying, sex that you don't like. I'm just saying being intimate in any form you want, and you have a partner and that partner's libido is higher than yours, well, ask that person, is it okay that we never have sex again? Probably say no, or never be intimate again.
Got to say, Zora's married to a very handsome French man. I reckon French men are Franck.
I think it's important to pay attention to your sexual health, to your sexual relationships, to your intimacy because of this. And because I just told you that these intimate relationships help you live a happier, longer life, why not? I understand that it's, for a lot of women, it's like when you're dealing with hot flashes and night sweats and you can't focus on the day, like it is not the first thing on your mind, but you still need to pay attention to it and work on it, please, because when you're there on that other side, it's so much better. And you think, why didn't I, do this earlier?
Hey, Zora, can I ask on that too? Because, being a big follower and fan of yours and on your Instagram, I remember you doing a month. It was some sort of survey or program. You had to have sex every day.
No matter what.
Once a day, and was reporting on it. And I think Frank never looked happy.
We want to know if Frank. No, but after a month, I bet you he ran a mile.
I reckon he must have been exhausted. But so tell us about that. Did you succeed in the month?
And why did you do it? Why did you do it?
So this was a challenge by Kim Anami, who's an Instagram profile person who I was following. And I thought, that's an interesting. First, I wanted her on my podcast.
She's
so
a sexologist, is she?
She's sexologist, she's into relationships. And I thought, okay, she put out this challenge, sex every single day for 30 days. You'll see it actually, it'll make you closer to your partner and you're going to get a lot of great benefits. So I said, okay, we try. So
okay, listeners, this could be a back fence challenge.
I think a lot of women are running. Come back.
It was a way for me to spice up the relationship. Like, what can I do? What's new? What's exciting? And I love challenges. That's just me. Like, I want to win and I want to get the A or something like that. It's just me. And so I proposed this to Frank, and he said, "What are the rules?" I'm like, "Oh my God,
that's great! It's a sex
game.
The rules
are there's no rules.
Don't you love that? But didn't he say at some stage,
so it was sex
I'm
every
tired?
day for a month, and was it
fun? It was fun. Actually, we had a good laugh because it was like, okay, we got to do it today. By the end of the day, we're like, oh my God, we didn't do it today. So, we hurry.
It's in the diary. breakfast,
Yeah,
sex.
Did you learn more about your body when we're a bit older? It's not like we're in our 20s, and then having sex every day. How was it?
So for me, it was it was almost like you had to cram it in. So I have to say I learned a little bit more after the challenge.
You say you got
but
10 minutes.
Cram it in.
I realized
Hurry up.
you don't like the, wham bam, thank you, ma'am, every day.
No.
Okay.
No.
That's not for me. And so what I learned is that I need slow, I need more time. I like to have foreplay and you don't have time to do that every single day. So you do learn about yourself. It's like, okay, now I really, really like
That's
that.
good, isn't it?
And so towards the end, what was really interesting is that Frank got a little tired towards the end.
That's what I remember you telling me that in Spain. I'm going, most men, it's all men.
He's not listening because he didn't say that.
No, but I get it because most men, this sounds fabulous.
It's
Oh,
like,
God, I'm
no,
exhausted. Well, Frank's
Yeah,
no
it's like you
young
guys
pup anymore.
Yeah, you have to, walk
funny.
the talk. Like you are all like, sex and all that. And then
It's just you again.
you don't
Jeez.
get third week. But I kind of figured out because what happens, about spermidine, right?
So tell us
My
about
favorite.
Yeah, tell us
spermidine.
about spermidine.
The spermidine is a supplement that I'm a big fan of, and it's to activate autophagy. That means the cellular cleanup and recycling process of your cells, of your body. And we lose this as we age. So we want to be able to eat spermidine-rich foods and
Wow.
be exercising, a little fasting. All these things are good to activate autophagy. But if you can't, because not everybody can exercise like that or fast or get the hold of the right foods, you can take a supplement.
Okay.
And spermidine got its name from sperm because it was discovered by a man.
Sorry, I've got the giggles and I can't stop.
No, when you eat once a
Sorry,
day,
there's the inner
spermidine.
child in me, that just pops out. When you say you just got to keep eating this.
You guys are like the girls, the kids, and I'm like the teacher.
We
and
are.
you're the-
We're very
We are.
mature,
I'm
not
such
so
Seriously,
like,
at the end of the day, we are
But
girlfriends.
where do
It's like-
where do you order spermidine from?
Sorry, I'm sorry, listeners. And I know someone was listening really focused, and I've just gone off. I'm
I don't know, but where do you
I think
get
I need to go to the laughing room.
Is in
What?
food.
Spermidine is also in sperm, in male, ejaculation, right?
Well, she was on the
And
money
so-
from the start.
So it comes from there too, but it can also come from wheat, germ, and soy. So what was happening, Frank was losing his spermidine. And of course that made him tired. And sometimes
Now I get it.
And Frank's French.
No, that's really interesting because he was doing too much. Then he was tired from it.
Yes.
Now I get it.
So what was the
Okay.
solution? I'd like
I
to
had
know
to
how
give
this month
him
wrapped up.
spermidine.
Did he say, Zora, we don't want to repeat that month again, or let's just keep on going?
Well, first of all, I got him on spermidine supplements because I was like, okay, now I see what's going on. Second of all, those supplements are friggin' expensive, so now I swallow instead of That's like gold.
Oh my God!
Oh my God,
Really?
you're incredible.
That is so
I can't believe
good.
what that is
No, but
remarkable.
That's a tip. That's a life tip because it is organic.
That's the tip of this.
It's organic.
It's organic.
It's coming from the source. It's free.
Oh my
My
God, I
gosh.
think we need
Well-
to move on. Hold on, my
No, not at
glasses
all.
are on upside down.
No,
after all.
Di's glasses are fogging
I've
up.
actually
This is
lost the plot, but I'm back now.
That is really good to know.
I love your honesty.
So the takeaway for our listeners is I don't know. What would you say, Zora?
Let's say after all that we've talked about is don't ignore your sexuality, your sexual health, your intimacy, and your sex life. Don't ignore that low libido sign when you're in menopause. Do something about it. You don't have to do the 30-day challenge. You don't have to swallow. You don't have to do any of this stuff.
Yeah.
You just have to figure out what makes you happy and feeling intimate with your partner.
That's beautiful because you know what? Sometimes we're having a laugh like that, but sometimes some people don't
Zora
want to
knows us.
have sex as they get older, and some I think it's great if you want to, but if you don't, sometimes it was saying just a hug is so beautiful.
It's my favourite thing.
isn't it? It's a connection, isn't it?
Yeah.
One on one, holding a
No
hand.
spermidine. I want to know because I often talk about people that you see in coffee shops and you come back an hour later or something going past and they're still in there on their computers and they're Spanish or Italian or whatever. I'm always been amazed by people that travel working like you are. You're this digital nomad. What's that like, and how do you do that? Because you've got kids, and I know they're older, and a husband in tow with his spermidine.
And actually maybe tell our listeners, what is a digital nomad? Because when I first met you, Zora, I don't think I've met a digital nomad.
Me either.
So tell us.
So digital nomad is basically somebody who doesn't have a home, a homeless person, but who moves from place to place. I mean, and think of a nomad, as usually it's seasonal. Once the crops are done and the cows have eaten all the fields, you move on to the next one. Yeah. But in our modern age, a digital nomad is because we now can earn money, have an income by working online or remotely. So doesn't matter if you have a home. It doesn't matter if you have a brick and mortar office. It doesn't matter anymore. Even where you're sitting now, you have a podcast studio. Well, I can go find one just doing a Google search if I do want to do a podcast in a professional studio. We have so much at our hands right now. And so so different grades of digital nomads. Some people stay in a country for a week, and some people stay there for 3 months. Yeah. Some people 6 months. For me personally, once you hit the 1 year mark in one place, that's an expat, living an expatriate life.
Okay,
You're not living in your own.
Yeah.
Singapore.
Yeah.
But so for you, so where do you live, Zora?
I do. Yeah, an expat would have a contract leasing a home or something like that, renting a place. We don't have contracts. We don't lease. We just go from Airbnb. My husband and I'm talking about, we go from Airbnb to hotel to friends' places. And we just find out where we're going to live.
See, I couldn't do that. Might be my star sign, being a Capricorn, being an earth sign. That would just throw me, not knowing I'm going back to a home. I find that fascinating.
But you know what, Di? Never say
really?
never. You never know, isn't it? You never
it's just
know.
me. I like to come home.
No, that's
to my little
I'm
bed.
An air sign.
You're what?
Air.
Air,
so
yeah.
Air.
Well, Airbnb.
There you go.
No, I think it's fat. And so what's ahead for the digital nomad? What's ahead for you, as in, what would you like to see in the future for Zora?
Oh, wow. That's a big question.
It is.
So I think me personally, I like that when we started to travel and nomadic life, and I really enjoyed it. Now I think I need more grounding. Right. Not a whole lot, because I still am an air sign and I do love to travel. I'm not giving up the travel, but I see that I so enjoy hanging my clothes in a closet and seeing them and not having to, live out of a suitcase all the time. So I think in the near future, probably for maybe 5 months, I'll stay in one place and then move on and just feel a little bit more grounded until I think that maybe I need more. But I want to dip my toes into they say there are people who have wings and there are people who have roots. And I was born with wings. My husband born with wings. My kids wings. And there's advantages and disadvantages to both. But I like to try roots a little bit.
Wow. And I've got to say, too, for our listeners, too, Zora is a beautiful mum to two gorgeous adult children. True citizens of the world, really. Like when you've got Ukrainian, you've lived in Russia, and you've, brought up in LA, and then you've just travelled all around the world, except for Australia. So we do
we're not going to throw that at you or anything.
So we do.
Come on, Diane.
And I've never been there. It's crazy. I want to be around you. I want to have my tribe. I want to be a part of your tribe.
You are a part of our tribe. You're very much part of our tribe. And Sammy's here too. Don't we, Sammy? We're all connected, and we will be forever.
Physically. But you are. I am so inspired by you guys because I met you in Phuket when you were going through transformations, both of yourselves. And so to see, who would have guessed we would both be making podcasts.
My very first holiday ever alone, sort of as a newly single woman after a marriage had ended after 25 years. My first, even though I traveled around the world as a job, as a flight attendant, but to actually go on my own on a holiday, it was Phuket Cleanse. So it was very much a transformational trip. And then who do I meet is Zora in my very first lecture, and I stayed afterwards, and then we just knew we'll be friends for life. And then who do I meet for my next one? Is Sam, and then Sam's our star producer, friend, so
and multi-talented people,
it's just wonderful,
inspirational people. Otherwise,
and Sam had the first podcast. I remember talking to her about it.
She actually did.
She did. Sam's always been ahead of her time.
She's incredible.
Zora, I just wanted to know, when did you get into biohacking and longevity? When did you become interested?
So health and wellness I've been since I was 16. I mean, I always was. I'm from LA, right?
Yeah.
And but I got more interested in cancer when my mom died, when she was only 57. I was 23.
sorry.
So I was like, oh my God, I just don't want to die early. What do I do? So that's when I started the wheels of. So then I started health coaching, and I got introduced to the biohacking community, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I'm looking for. It's not just health and wellness. This is next level health optimization.
That's so interesting, and what I think, I tell you what, your mum would be damn proud of you.
Yeah. Well, look, we feel honoured to have had you on today.
And we've got a couple of our signature questions.
Yep. You go first, Nicholas.
Okay. Well, if you could share a back fence with anybody on planet Earth, who would it be, Zora, and why?
Of course, it would be you girls. That is like the easiest question.
Oh
my
wow.
God.
Well, come on. Actually, you haven't been to our back fence.
No.
As the
I'll
listeners
take
know,
it down to the back fence.
We actually do share a back fence.
We actually do.
We do our
Zora
own
doesn't
thing.
drink, so I'll make sure we have some lovely tea there for you.
Spermidine.
What's that?
Spermidine.
We even
spiked
got,
with
thank
an
God,
Spermidine on tap.
even Sam's going with that. Thank God I don't feel. So what we need to do is ask the next question. So, and this one does intrigue me with Zora Bora. Okay, what would you say to your 20-year-old self if you had that opportunity? What sort of advice, or what would you, if you saw her, what would you say to her?
Stop people pleasing. Oh, I'm a recovering.
No, I'm only going like
people-pleaser.
that because 90% of people say it blows
is
my mind.
Unbelievable. Is it our generation?
It blows my mind constantly.
Well, tell us about
Elaborate, break that
Yeah.
down a little bit. Like,
Well, I think we were told ever since we were little girls, like, be a good girl, be nice. Good girls are kind. And when you see a response, actually, to me, it's also there's a part of the people pleaser in me that does it out of pure pleasure. Like, I enjoy connecting with people. I love making them happy. That makes me happy too. But I think I've learned over the years that I would cross oceans for people who wouldn't cross a puddle for me. And I just kind of got a little disappointed. I said, why am I doing this? Just try to make them please them and they like me. And I think you just spend a lot of time and effort. And I don't want to, I would never want to totally pull back, because I think thanks to this little trait of mine, I've made so many connections and met so many people, and that's a little bit of a superpower. So I think it's something in between. And yeah, and I think part of it has to do with creating boundaries. As you get older, you go, why am I doing all this stuff? And I have no time for the real people I love, or doing the things that I absolutely love, because I'm trying to take care of everybody else. And I think it's just part of society's ingrained this into us, and as women, and that's why so many women come out and saying the same thing, because we grow up and say, all right, let's time to become a woman.
Wow, Zora, that's just
Yeah,
amazing hearing that, because
yeah.
as we said, like, most of our listeners have, people on board have just sort of said that, so
it's fascinating. Hey, Zora, you know what? We've only seriously just opened the window a little bit to who and what you are and what you do. But I hope that we'll encourage the listeners to follow you from here on end. It was just a taste of what you are all about. And there's so many spokes in your wheel.
And health
truly.
and fitness and diet and weights and, you're just spermidine. Which is a wealth of knowledge and
No,
the
we
most
love you.
beautiful, biggest heart
Yeah.
in the world, Zora.
love you.
Thank you so much for coming on the Back Fence
Incredible.
today. So listeners, follow Zora and Diety. We want to get everyone to rate and review. I think maybe the ratings might just come up to higher with this one. So don't forget to follow. Tune in on a Monday, and when you rate, how many stars do you want, Diety?
50,000 out of...
Oh wow!
You meant to do 5, right? Just add a few notes. That's all. Simple.
50,000. Well,
Yep,
that's a
yep.
record.
Is that a record?
Yep, 50,000.
There you go, Zora. You've inspired me.
Yes.
Don't forget to look Zora up. I'll put everything in our show notes. Take care. Bye.
Ciao, ciao. Bye bye.
Ciao.